others. Now that's going to look wildly different in kindergarten than it does in, say, 11th grade. But it's still something you should be able to do. Model with mathematics, that's the important part. Use appropriate tools. Clearly, the tools that are appropriate in 12th grade are not appropriate in kindergarten. But it's this idea that there are these themes, these are these common core that unites all the checklists that we're doing. Okay? For example, Math Standard 5 is based on grade level. So use appropriate tools to teach. You know, in kindergarten, that might be as simple as learning to use a pencil to write math. Right? If you're looking at elementary school, maybe transition to a basic calculator. In high school, maybe you start using graphing calculator or more advanced functions like statistical and mathematical models. You know, whether you're in AP calculus or you're starting kindergarten, you should be able to use tools when you're solving math problems. The tool will differ, but it is still a common strand. Now here's the thing. We can talk all we want about common strands and all of that, but at the end of the day, the Common Core State Standards does devolve almost to grade level learning expectations. Now the initials are different. So we have kindergarten measurement and data number 2. Directly compare two objects with a measurable attribute in common. Well, obviously, they might have mass. You might have one thing that's heavier than another. You're comparing those. Or maybe you have 3 manipulatives here and 5 manipulatives here. They vary in quantity. So you can see how that's immediately integrated into whatever grade level you're teaching. Any questions?
Is that the URL for all grade levels?
If you go to corestandards.org, one of the great things, thank God for the modern age, is all of this, even the draft documents, both at the state level and the national level, on all of these things are available online. You can see the full reports there. If you want the full the Common Core National Curriculum, all the standards, you can get it in there. Now the state has a transitional plan, but we'll talk about that too. So just a quick summary, yes?
I teach art, so I don't have GLEs. Do I still follow Common Core?
So we're going to talk about what the Common Core will affect. The short answer is no.
Okay.
Here's the GLEs and Common Core compare. One, they're both sort of this checklist. The only thing is I would say that the Common Core, and I know the GLEs are grouped by themes at each grade level, but there's nothing to unify science or math or English or social studies between grade levels. So the Common Core is a checklist of grade level learning expectations that has some sort of theme between grade levels. Because here's the question. How are we going to evaluate teachers if we're not, in a core manner, measuring the same type of skills between each grade? And so the issue about measuring English 1 and English 2, well now that changes because you're learning thematically. So this is how it all comes together in the teaching units. So let's go ahead and talk a little further because we need to really talk about what this impacts in your classroom. First and foremost, we have math and ELA. Now, the Governing Council of the Chief State School Officers is not directly responsible for science and social studies. Okay? There's still even some debate about social studies because how do you have a national curriculum for social studies without losing that local flavor and heritage, right? So that is a very big concern. Those have been delayed. There are the next generation science standards that promise to be Common Core level science standards. But the bottom line is that the Common Core commonly refers to English and math standards. Furthermore, and this is a conflict within this, we don't have science and social studies Common Core. And we may not have them for a few more years. How do you get that rigor into English and math? Well, the solution to that the chief school officers have come up with is we're going to make a transition. This is something that's highly debatable. How many of you teach English language arts in here? All right. Under the Common Core, well, actually, in the status quo now, you have a certain ratio of fictional to non-fictional works, right? Common Core is going to make a big shift. They're going to cut out a lot of traditional fictional works in order to make room for non-fictional texts. Specifically, since they're having a focus on college and career readiness, you might be in And then there's, of course, a certain deceptive power in what we teach, right? So which texts remain, which texts are taught, is something that is very powerful. So that is something they really are currently debating at the national level right now. By the way, transition, and this gets a little tricky. We can't just jump to Common Core. If Common Core is, on average, a year ahead of what we're currently teaching, then students are going to be caught in this gap, right? And that would be unfair, especially if you're going to start to get evaluated on that. So what they're doing for the state is they're doing a transition. Meaning you're not required to immediately jump to the Common Core. There's a transitional curriculum that moves not as many GLEs around, and that has been put out by the state. And there's actually documents for that. And if you notice, by 2014, 2015, all grades will be in Common Core. Now, transitional needs a translation. The Department of Education for the state has a transitional curriculum. First, it started in something called the crosswalk documents. And what the crosswalk documents are is it basically tells you this grade for every grade, this grade level learning expectation, cut out, because we're moving it to the grade below. This grade level learning expectation, removed. It's not necessary. Oh, and look, maybe we've added this grade level learning expectation. So there are charts and graphs that show exactly which GLEs to teach, to remove, or to teach somewhere else, or to add. And the state has literally just put out the comprehensive curriculum that deals with this. So you can still use your comprehensive curriculum, even though it has some issues with that. You still use your comprehensive curriculum as a guide under these transitional years. Oh, and by the way,
Can you just go back so we can hold your...
yes. Actually, the only thing you'll need a copy is louisianaschools.net, and I'll have some additional resources and websites on the last slide of this presentation. And we also make sure that all presentations are available online at our website. So if you go to our website, you'll be able to see all of my presentations, etc., on a range of different subjects. Speaking of, here's just some advice. Pay close attention, if you're affected by this, to the transitional curriculum. That's the first thing. And all those documents are online, so this should be addressed. Now, on the state's part of this, how many of you have been to the Common Core State Standards training by the state? Oh, tomorrow? All right, good. So what they've done is that they basically allowed 3 teachers from every school to go to their training. Now, most schools have more than 3 teachers, right? So it is now incumbent on you as an attendee to tell all the teachers at your school about this. Yeah, that's no problem, right? So make sure that you take the personal initiative to be an effective teacher and go online and get this information. Because there may not be a teacher that went to that training at your school, and even if there is, that's awfully a lot to ask for that 1 to 3 teachers at your school to effectively train everybody. The one thing we all know as educators is none of us have the time. And especially for principals or lead teachers, one of my recommendations, especially in kindergarten, because there's an issue in kindergarten. If we're moving everything back a year, who does that all fall on? Kindergarten. Absolutely. Anyone teach kindergarten here? Yep. So all of that falls on you. And so there are some new requirements for students going into kindergarten. New expectations. Now, given that our state has some issues, I would say, in the disparity in which we offer pre-K programs, is that a good polite way to put that? Yes. So some people may not have pre-K programs, and some people's pre-K programs may be questionable. I'm sure you noticed that, of who. I guess the best thing, if you want to know where to put your child, just look where the teachers are putting their children, right? So they're still working on that end of it. There is now going to be a rating system for pre-K and daycare providers as well, as part of this new legislation. But universal pre-K is not something, even if everyone says it's a great thing to do, pretty much everyone agrees on some schools already